Good afternoon and welcome to The Appeal Live, a co-production of Now This and The Appeal. I'm Alana Sivan, and today we're going to be talking about a new push in Alabama to rethink driver's licenses and the suspension of driver's licenses, which supporters say will keep poverty and low-level offenses from completely upending people's lives. So in Alabama, like many other states, drivers can have their licenses suspended for things that don't have to do with their driving, for minor offenses that have nothing to do with driving, such as drug charges, child support issues, or failure to pay certain court fines and fees. And once your driver's license is suspended, you need to pay a reinstatement fee, which can lead to some really difficult choices. In fact, a 2018 report by the Alabama Appleseed Center for Law and Justice found that 89% of people with suspended licenses reported being forced to choose between basic needs and paying what they owed. And this makes sense because driving is necessary in Alabama, where public transportation is limited. You need to drive to be able to access basic necessities, to be able to work, to be able to access childcare. And the thing is, that once your license is suspended, it is really difficult for a lot of people to be able to pay the fine to get it back. So think of it this way. To make money in order to pay off the reinstatement fee, you have to work. And in order to work, particularly in Alabama, you have to be able to drive to work. So you have to make this really difficult choice of, are you going to risk driving, getting pulled over for your suspended license, and then end up being incarcerated? And by the way, if you are Black or brown, the likelihood of you getting pulled over is much higher. And so you take that gamble so that you can be able to pay off the fee for your license and be able to provide for yourself or your family. You get pulled over, you get arrested, and you're put in jail. Which can lead to so many other negative effects, including the loss of services for you or your children, separation from family, loss of work, not to mention the potential trauma, that you will likely face while in jail. And so just like that, a minor offense or unpaid fee can turn into a devastating cycle that really only serves to perpetuate and punish poverty. But a new bill in Alabama, HB 129, would seek to disrupt that cycle by preventing the state from suspending driver's licenses for unpaid fines and court costs, for failure to appear at a court hearing, certain drug offenses, and some child support cases. Suspension for some other crimes, including driving under the influence, however, would still be permitted. So joining me now to talk about this new legislation and to talk about how driver license suspensions fit into a broader criminalization of poverty. I'm so pleased today to welcome Leah Nelson, Research Director of Alabama Appleseed. Thank you so much for being here today, and it's really a pleasure to have you.
Thanks so much for having me, Alana.
So before we get into the specifics of HB 129, I want to take a step back and talk about how the system currently operates. So talk to us about how these suspensions and other forms of traffic enforcement effectively serve to make poverty a crime in Alabama.
Yeah, it's a problem in a lot of states, and Alabama, as you said in your intro, is rural and poor, which means that it's even more of a problem here. So what can happen right now is, say I'm driving down the road and my car tag is obstructed, or I have a busted headlight, or maybe both. An officer can stop me and issue a ticket for those things. Now, I would pay the ticket right away. I have access to enough money to do that, but a lot of people don't. So what commonly happens for people who can't pay the entire cost of their ticket immediately is they get put on a payment plan, usually $25 or $50 a month. And as long as they keep current on that payment plan, they're okay. Their license doesn't get suspended. But it's fairly common for people to miss a payment. And once you miss a payment, your license can be suspended automatically. You may not even get a letter in the mail. They'll send one, but if the address is wrong or if for any reason you don't receive it, you won't even know your license is suspended. And let's say you don't have time to get your headlight fixed. You're pulled over again for the same reason, And now you get another ticket, this time for driving on a suspended license as well. So that starts this debt spiral, and people can accumulate thousands and thousands of dollars of debt over time. It's pretty common for people to be on payment plans in multiple counties. Alabama is a big state, and if you live in a rural county and you work in Birmingham, you might drive through 2 or 3 jurisdictions on your way to work. You may have payment plans in all of those places. And if you miss even one payment on one plan, your license is suspended. If you miss a court date, I should say you're expected to come to court every couple of months typically to explain why you haven't paid off all of what you owe. If you miss one of those dates because of a childcare issue, because it conflicted with work, or maybe at some point in the past you came to court with as much money as you could muster and they said, thanks, this isn't enough, go to jail. Maybe you didn't go to court because you were scared. That failure to appear is another reason to suspend your license. And people just get trapped in this cycle where they cannot get their driver's license back. They have to keep driving in order to live their lives, get to work, go to the doctor, take their kids to school. I mean, otherwise live life in Alabama. You can't even open a bank account or get an apartment without a driver's license. It's hard to vote. It's one of the most commonly trusted forms of ID, and people need them, and they drive anyway without them. And it just traps people in this cycle of poverty, making it really hard to get a job or keep a job.
You know, and it also seems that once your license is suspended, it makes it that much harder to be able to get your license unsuspended.
Yes, I mean, if you owe money, you need to earn money to pay it back, right? So a lot of people who lose their licenses lose their jobs. I have spoken with people who got a job that had